What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to episode 13 of the Purple and Gold Perspectives podcast. I'm your host, Mike Javid. No co-host today, but we're going to be discussing all this LeBron stuff that's going on. Will he get traded? Will he not? It's all up in the air right now. First of all, though, before we get started on looking at these trades, shout out to Damian Lillard. He just signed a 3-year contract, 42 mil with the Portland Trail Blazers, returning to the team. I'm very happy for him, very happy for Portland, the city, their fans, getting arguably the greatest player in their franchise's history. He also has a no-trade clause, joining LeBron as the only players in the NBA with a no-trade clause, so I found that really interesting. Anyways, it's time to talk about some LeBron trades. So we have the Fanspo.com trade machine right here. And it's interesting because there's 4 teams that offered a package already for LeBron. It was the Cleveland Cavaliers, the LA Clippers, the Golden State Warriors, and the Dallas Mavericks. I think first we should just start with probably the most fun team. Obviously, with all the history they've had, LeBron back in Cleveland, where he got drafted, where he's from. For the Lakers, I do think it's best for him to go to Cleveland. I think they have the most we could get in return, but the problem is this number right here. Second apron space. $18.4 million. So to trade for LeBron, it would have to be a 1-for-1 trade. And as you can see, and they have to lose money, obviously. And as you can see here, there is nobody on the Cavs that makes more than LeBron, so that does not work. So it's going to have to be a third team, and just as a cap space team, we could just add the Nets, and they're probably going to be in a LeBron trade if he goes to Cleveland. So we're going to send LeBron to the Cavs. Donovan Mitchell's untouchable in this scenario, obviously. Same with Devin Mobley. I would accept, I don't know, but they're not going to trade any of them in a LeBron trade. However, a guy like Darius Garland, this is probably the main guy, or maybe DeAndre Hunter, actually. You could throw in Jarrett Allen, probably. So that's already 43 mil. It's obviously not going to work, though. The Cavs still need to give up 26 mil. So it's either you give up Darius Garland here, or you give up more role players. Like maybe you can't give up Lonzo Ball right now, but it would have to be maybe Max Strus, Dean Wade, maybe Jalen Tyson, Sam Morrell. I mean, if it was a deadline deal, yeah, Lonzo Ball, but I think it makes most sense for them to just get rid of Darius Garland, get under that first apron, or under that first apron. Now the problem is the Lakers are now over the second apron, so this is why you need a third team. So right here, you've got the Brooklyn Nets. We're obviously not going to send Darius Garland to Brooklyn. Why would they want Darius Garland right now? It just doesn't really make that much sense. The Nets, they're gonna just be in it for a salary fill. So I mean, you technically could just send Darius Garland here, and then just add maybe a couple players to Cleveland, but that does not really work. Like, say you just send like Day'Ron Sharpe. Obviously, you could figure out picks. Like, this would work hypothetically, but obviously, why would the Nets? The Nets are going to trade for Darius Garland, and why would the Cavs do this? And to be honest, I don't think we would do this either. I don't know. It just doesn't really make sense. So we'd have to find a fourth team for Darius Garland. The Celtics already traded for Anthony Simons. They have Peyton Pritchard. They don't need another small guard. The Knicks already have Jalen Brunson. The Pacers already have Tyrese Halliburton, but he's out, so like it doesn't really make sense anyways. The Bucks, this would make sense, but they have no assets for him. So maybe you send something like Kyle Kuzma to Brooklyn as he's a salary filler, bad contract. You would need a little bit more, right? So you send a guy like Bobby Portis would not work here. You could just actually do that. So a guy like Bobby Portis wouldn't work because if you send him to Cleveland, that they get over the second apron. And the Nets aren't going to just take him. And that's all the Bucks have, because if you try this, it's gonna fail, obviously, because you have to cut 9.5 mil from the Bucks incoming value. Hypothetically, send him to the Lakers. I don't think this works either because we're over the first apron. So it doesn't really make sense to send Garland to Milwaukee because they don't have the salary. You can cut that out. Detroit already has Cade Cunningham. Orlando already traded for they have Jalen Suggs, Desmond Bane. They're not trying to mess up what they have. The Hawks already have Trae Young. The Bulls already have Josh Giddey, Kobe White. The Heat make a little bit of sense too, because they have Terry Rozier. So you could just send it like boom. This actually might already work. Oh wait. This actually might already work. Let's see. It doesn't work. The Heat need to cut 12.8 mil. So maybe you got Simone Fontecchio to Brooklyn. Yeah, the thing is though, if you're gonna send Garland, like it's gonna be tough. They probably don't want to gut three of their six best players for a 40-year-old LeBron. That's probably why a Cavs trade wouldn't work. We're just like kind of going over every single different scenario to find the perfect LeBron trade. Like this just doesn't work for the Nets, or not for the Nets. You're gonna have to add a pick here. You could send, or maybe just send Haywood Highsmith to the Lakers. He could just be a 3-and-D guy, expiring contract. I'm pretty sure this work. Oh, shoot. Oh yeah, the Nets need to send somebody, right? So you could just actually cut that, send Day'Ron Sharpe maybe to Cleveland. He could kind of be their backup center here. I mean, this technically does work. I just forgot to turn off the recently traded rule. So this works. The only thing is the picks. You just have to figure all that out. Obviously, the Heat are probably going to give up a first to probably the Lakers. Let's see, 2030. We could do a 2030. Top 8 protect. Top 5 protected first to the Lakers. Let's see. Yeah, let me just do that right now, actually, because that's going to throw me off. So this technically works. Now, would every team accept this? Probably not. Cleveland, I doubt, would do this. Like, what would their rotation be, hypothetically? It would be Donovan Mitchell, Max Strus, maybe Dean Wade, LeBron, and then Mobley. Or you start Sam Morrell or Lonzo Ball off the bench. Oh, let me send Bronny actually to Cleveland too. We'll send Bronny to the Cavs. I mean, here you could probably just send a couple of seconds to Brooklyn for taking on the contract of. Seconds are obviously interchangeable, but send a couple of them to Brooklyn maybe the Cavs give up this Nuggets second round pick, and then maybe the Lakers give up the second too. But that's actually their lot. Never mind. I think this might be good for Brooklyn actually because they just get 4 seconds for taking on some salary, and then they get some for Day. Actually, the Cavs probably give up another second for Dayron Holmes, so they give up this second. I think the Nets do this for sure, getting 5 seconds just for taking on a couple of expiring contracts. Pretty good value. Um, the Heat buy low on Darius Garland since he can't really stay healthy. It's hard to judge his value. That's the thing. Maybe that first goes to Cleveland instead. Actually, that might work better. I think it might work better if the Cavs just keep their first. So send this to Cleveland. Could maybe swing the pot a bit for them. So the Cavs get LeBron, they get Day'Ron Sharpe at their backup center, they get Bronny, and then they get a top 5 protected first round pick that could actually be pretty valuable. I still don't think the Cavs would do this, but this is the best offer you could make since they have no flexibility. Next, maybe you could try to find another team, but like the Timberwolves have nothing. These teams that are tanking, they wouldn't really want Garland except maybe the Raptors, but I don't know what they'd give up. Uh, like Memphis, no. Golden State has Steph. Memphis has Ja. The Clippers have Harden. Denver has Murray. Rockets just made a big move. I don't think they'd make another one. And then the Suns, I mean, they just made a big trade. I don't think they'd buy in on Darius Garland right now. They're kind of trying to retool. They might wait an offseason, see what they need, and not try to go for this gamble again. Spurs have Fox. Blazers have a lot of guards, and then Pelicans are just not that good right now. Next, I think we should see what the Clippers have. How could we send LeBron to the Clippers right here? This is tough though because both teams are hovering around the first apron. Clippers are 6 mil off. Lakers are 2 mil off. Send these two to the Lakers or to the Clippers. So the Lakers right here could take back up to 56 mil and have to get at least 48 mil. Kawhi, if they're gonna trade for LeBron, it'll be to pair those two up. That's not happening. James Harden, why would we want Harden? John Collins has to be in the deal. Avika Zubac, there's no way they are trading Zubac in this trade. If they did somehow, you probably just run away with it and do it. I'd love it, but there's just no way. Bogdanovich, Derek Jones Jr., one of those two have to be in the deal somehow, some way. And my gut tells me it would probably be Bogdanovich, though I'd rather have Derek Jones Jr. And then see how far off we are. It says 10 mil, but it's probably less than that. It looks like we're 5 mil off. So maybe if you just send Brooke Lopez, honestly, this might work. Oh, it doesn't. Well, yeah, because of that. So yeah, in a couple months, this trade could happen. This could be a deadline deal. The problem is, why would we do? The problem is the Lakers would not do this, and the Clippers don't have enough draft picks outside of this 2031 first. You could send. It would probably have to be unprotected. That's just about it. This is probably what the Clippers offered. something around this. And it just doesn't make sense for the Lakers to do this at all. I'd much rather. There's probably other offers that you'd rather have than this. John Collins is a good player. He's expiring. You could start right away. Bogdan, he's a solid 3-point shooter. Doesn't really do that much else. And then Brooke Lopez, he's what, like 37. It just doesn't make sense. So I'll say pass on that. I don't really think the Clippers are realistic. The Warriors also made an offer. Send LeBron, Bronny. The thing is, right? Jimmy Butler. If I send Jimmy Butler here, it works like right away. I just don't know why the Lakers would want Jimmy Butler. And then the Warriors can't match salary elsewhere outside of just gutting their whole bench that they don't have a lot of. It would have to be like Draymond Green, or actually no, it could be just the Kuminga sign and trade. So you have Kuminga, sign him, or let's just do 3 years. I'll say like 18 mil. I want to say 18 mil right here. Send him to the Lakers. Maybe out a third team, actually. Like, could be like the Suns, for example. Because I've seen rumors of Phoenix having interest in Kuminga. So send maybe Nick Richards to the Lakers. Royce O'Neal could be a good 3-and-D guy. Send maybe Moses Moody to the Lakers. It would have to probably be Buddy Hield. Oh yeah, and then send Kuminga to Phoenix. Where's Kuminga? I think I just have to do this real quick. So yeah, it would have to be something like this. Yeah, send him here to the Suns. See if this works. Doesn't work. It works for Phoenix and the Warriors, or for the Lakers. Warriors don't need to give up 15 mil. And I don't know why the Suns aren't going to offer Kuminga like 25 mil a year. So I really don't think this works out outside of just a Jimmy for LeBron swap. So let's just see. You could undo. So you could just do Jimmy Butler for LeBron and then Bronny. And then you have to throw in picks. And the thing is, the Warriors don't have many trade outside of these two. The Warriors don't have many tradable firsts. Like, really? I don't get the point of this. You're taking an extra first for an extra year of Jimmy. Like, there's not really any point of this. It would probably have to be a Kuminga sign trade. That could just get really complicated. Then lastly, for the Mavs, this is what we've heard the most smoke of out of any team. Send LeBron, Bronny. Obviously, AD, untouchable. Kyrie, untouchable. Klay Thompson. Daniel Gafford would have been perfect. But he already signed an extension, so you can't really trade him right now. That's the problem. PJ Washington has to be in the deal. One of these two has to be in the deal. Now, I'd probably prefer Najee Marshall here. I'm sure Dallas would rather keep him, but Let's just say that we get Najee Marshall. Jaden Hardy or Max Christie, one of them will be in the deal. I'd imagine Dallas keeps Max Christie, so Jaden Hardy, you just get sent here. Derek Lively. It barely fails. 1.5 mil off. So you could just send like, I don't know, maybe like Dwight Powell. It's gonna hurt to lose him though. He's a Mavs legend, obviously. This is just a lot. It would actually probably have to be make it Caleb Martin instead of Najee Marshall. Try that maybe. And that works. Interesting. The Mavs have a rotation of LeBron or Kyrie, Max Christie, Cooper Flag, LeBron, and AD off the bench. You have D'Angelo Russell. We can just go over the depth chart actually. D'Lo, you have Dante Exum, Olivier Maxence Prosper, Najee Marshall, and Daniel Gafford. So you still have a solid 8-man rotation for the playoffs. Would the Mavs do this? I don't know. You'd actually probably need a first to maybe entice the Lakers, because I actually don't think the Lakers would do this. So maybe give them their first back. And boom, that works. Not terrible. This is probably like the most realistic. I don't know. It's probably the most realistic out of all 4 of the trades we did. Best value wise. But I don't know. I don't really think LeBron gets traded after all, but if he were to get traded, I think it would be something like this. Am I overvaluing him, undervaluing him? I don't know. You guys can help me decide that, but nobody really knows LeBron's value, true value. Lastly, we could go over some other teams that could have interest. So Boston, absolutely not. New York, absolutely not. Unless it was, I've seen some people suggest this, which I just don't understand. It would be like something like this straight up. And honestly, I wouldn't even do this. I would say no. Just makes our defense worse. There's like no point in Cat's contract. It might not age too well. The Pacers already have Siakam. The Bucks have Giannis. Pistons, like, I don't know. Tobias Harris, maybe. And like, what else do they have? Jaden Ivey. Why would we want Ivy? And then maybe like Isaiah Stewart. I don't think the Pistons would do this. They already have a good young core. The Magic have Franz and Paulo. The Hawks, they don't need LeBron. The Bulls just don't make sense. The Heat, let's see. You have Andrew Wiggins, would have to be the main guy. And then you probably just send Terry Rozier, actually. Then you add a first right here, maybe this one, unprotected. And then potentially this one, top 8 protected to the Lakers. I mean, yeah, this might be decently realistic. I don't think Miami would do this. Maybe, though. I'm not sure. Toronto doesn't make sense at all. Brooklyn makes no sense. Philadelphia, they could just match it, right? They could match it very easily. And then you just send a lot of picks, like maybe these Clippers picks. And then maybe this pick right here is first. 2031, you could do this. Oh, doesn't even work. Oh, step-in rule. I guess you just can't send this pick in. That's fine. So yeah, that works too. I don't really know why we would do this. I wouldn't really be a fan of it. Hornets, Wizards make no sense. OKC just won a championship. They're trying to keep their young core. Houston just traded for KD. Nuggets, they have Gordon, MPJ. Minnesota, they just beat the Lakers. They just re-signed all their guys. Golden State, we already went over. Memphis, no. Maybe actually, let's see. If they were to do this, though, KCP. Well, no, never mind. They just signed Santiago. They just re-signed Santiago. Sacramento makes no sense. Phoenix makes no sense. Now Portland makes no sense. Spurs, let's see. This actually might be a decent sleeper team. Problem is, I don't know what they would give up. It would have to be Devin Vassell. Have to be Harrison Barnes. That's 46 mil right there. So you need. Actually, I think this works. Yeah. And then you just have to give up like a couple picks. Maybe this Hawks pick. And then maybe both of the Hawks picks, actually. Something like this. Problem is, I don't know about paying Devin Vassell for 4 years. That's the one thing. But the Lakers do clear cap space here, get under that first apron, which is huge. And actually, technically, the Spurs will clear cap space as LeBron's expiring. And they could maybe win it all with this team. I doubt it, though. And yeah, realistically, those are probably the only team that could realistically make a trade for LeBron. So you have Cleveland, New York, kind of. Detroit, I would say there's a 0.01% chance. Miami, maybe. Philadelphia, probably not. Clippers, no, or maybe. Golden State, probably not realistically. Memphis, there's pretty much no chance. Dallas probably has the best chance, if I'm being real. And then San Antonio. So there's actually a decent amount of teams that realistically could make a trade. Some are more realistic than others, but this is just for fun. I don't even think LeBron gets traded, if we're being real. Anyways, thank you guys for listening to this episode. Really appreciate it. And we'll see you guys next time. Peace.